Okay, cock 45 here. No, wait a minute. Rooster Cogburn's what I mean. No, not Rooster Cogburn, but I've got a Rooster shooter here, and I'm going to fire it. I missed. I think I meant to. Yes, the Rooster shooter that Rooster Cogburn carried. And some of you, shame on you, don't even know what I'm talking about. It's really sad, but I'm here to tell you. Okay, so let's take a look at this firearm. It is called the Rooster shooter, really. I guess because people use it to harvest chickens. I don't know. We'll look it up and see why it's called that. How about that? Oh yes, I brought out my cowboy hat and everything, and I thought it was worth it on this one, because this is a good old Wild West shooter. Not for shooting roosters, although that might have been done, I'm sure, somewhere along the way. You think? Oh yeah, it's called the Rooster shooter from Cimarron. You could probably see the title. And it looks old, doesn't it? Well, it's not too old. I requested it from... So yeah, the Cimarron Rooster shooter. Some of you have no clue why it's called that, and I think I'll just let you wonder for a while. I'll just sit here and let you think about it a little bit more. You know, was it really used to shoot roosters? Was it famous for bringing in the chicken dinner? Well, you should be ashamed of yourself if you've never seen True Grit, okay? Or Rooster Cogburn, okay? Which was kind of a sequel, I guess, to True Grit, all right? And that's what it's named after. It's just a lot like the firearm that John Wayne is famous for carrying. And some of you don't even know who John Wayne is, maybe. That's okay. Everybody doesn't know everything. How's that for profound? But John Wayne made a lot of Westerns, and I guess starting back in the 1920s even, and then right on up into the 1970s and 80s, no, not in the 80s, I guess. But, and he carried in a lot of his movies a firearm that looked a lot like this. Okay, now I know all Colt Single Actions look similar, but his had this, it looked like an aged ivory grip, the finger grooves in it, and the Warren, this just is designed to look like the gun he carried. The 4 3/4 inch barrel, the old Colt that he carried. And I think his own personal gun, like this, he had one, was actually a 3840, I think I read somewhere, I don't know. But in the movies, he actually carried a Colt that was, I don't know that they were his personal guns, but they looked like this. And even they, as I read, were not really bone handles, aged ivory or anything. They were made to look like that, even the guns he carried in the movie. And for a long time I thought he was carrying an ivory handled Colt of his own. Maybe he did somewhere, don't know. But you know, you read so many different things, just like Clint Eastwood and some of his movies. You read so many different stories about the Model 29. A lot of it's just myth, or people believing what they want to believe, and that kind of thing. But as I understand, he had several of these Hollywood versions of this gun that he used in those movies. El Dorado, you'll see, Cahill, U.S. Marshal, True Grit, Rooster Cogburn, and there maybe Sons of KDL. There were several. I guess most of those were made in the 60s and 70s. And he carried a Colt that looked just like this, okay? And so that's what Cimarron has done. You know, Mike Harvey of Cimarron is famous or known for, and some of the other makers do that, or importers do as well, like Taylor's, but Cimarron is, they may lead the charge on that, and really being aggressive about having firearms made in the Old West, or duplicates of firearms that were actually used in the movies or in the old days or whatever. So a lot of people do a good job of that, but Cimarron especially. And I understand Mike Harvey actually owns one of those guns that was used in one of those movies that John Wayne carried. So he knows what they are supposed to look like. And that's what this is. This video is about. I don't recall, somebody recommend I get one? I think somebody did. And I went to see if Buds had it, and they did. And I requested it right then and there, okay? Sometimes I act quickly. I don't wait 5 years, okay? Especially if it's something I like. All right, now if it's something I know you all are going to like, and I'm going to like it too, I jump right on it if I can find it. So This is made to look like his guns, and it really, they did a good job. The bottom line is I'm impressed. Okay, and you know, I know Colts. I got a couple of my others here on the table, and when I picked it up, took it out of the box several days back, I thought, okay, I was ready not to be impressed, because sometimes color case hardening on guns that come from Italy or other places, it's really lame as compared with you know, the best color case hardening, and you almost wish they didn't try. And then sometimes you'll see a gun that's made to look like an old one, distressed finish a little bit, and it really is pretty lame as well. This sucker, that's why I brought these out here. You know, it looks pretty good. Like, this is an actual 1884 Colt. All right, you've seen it before, I hope. Unless you're new, maybe you didn't. Get back and look at those videos. This is 1884, and you know, it's distressed from all those years, right? Somebody do the math quick. Let's see, 120, 30, 136 years, right? Is that right? So, you know, that's got a few years to become distressed, for the finish to become slightly distressed, right? And this one too, 1886, right? I got it on the coin, 1887, in case I forget. Yeah, 1887. That one's had a fair amount of time. So that's what they that's what they eventually look like. You know, they started out as color case hardened and everything, and bluing, but you know, years take care of it, right? Now, this doesn't look quite as smooth, of course, and everything, but it's not bad. I mean, if I pulled both these out and said, quick, tell me which one's the old one, you might have trouble, you know, from a distance, you know. So that's pretty neat. I'm impressed with the job they did on that. Yeah, I honestly am. Not bad. And also, it doesn't seem to have any funky safeties and things that, you know, it's got the hammer-mounted firing pin. If you look at these, now these are really old, so they have a little bit of a different firing pin than even the new ones, but, you know, the hammer-mounted firing pin, I'll cock them all the way. So you get that, and the base pin does not, it's not one of those extra long base pins. It comes way out here in order to push it in further and allow it to block the hammer or anything. It's like a Colt. You know, you got the two-piece cylinder. That I wasn't sure about. I just got it out today, actually. I got to messing with this morning because I thought it was one piece, but it just is kind of stuck. And I lubed it up and cleaned it up a little bit. And so, you know, really, you could, if you could put the Colt markings on this thing, you could fool some people, you know, like 22 Plinkster or 10 Outdoors 9. You could sell it to them for $5,000. And it does cost about $800, you know, in that ballpark, maybe not quite that much. So, you know, it's a different production. So you're not going to find one like this with these grips, you know, for $500. And the grips, again, it's not real, it's not ivory or bone or anything like that, but it looks pretty good. It looks a little bit like aged ivory. Now this one I brought out because it has real aged ivory. Okay, that's what it, at least that piece would look like. So his were a little darker, maybe like that side, or almost as dark as this one. So pretty cool. They went to great lengths, I understand, to get that material right on the grip, and everything is as much exactly like the one that John Wayne carried in the movies. And those are neat. Those are some of his best movies, I think. Most of his are pretty good, except for the comedies. I never enjoyed Western comedies, I have to admit. As much as I love Westerns, like McClintock, and there's several of them I really don't even watch. They're silly, you know. I just don't enjoy them as much for some reason, but that's just me. But El Dorado and Cahill U.S. Marshal and all those, and True Grit, there's humor in there, but they're just neat movies, easy to watch, and most people like them, even if you're not a huge, you know, Western fan. John and I have been out, maybe you have too, out to Old Tombstone, which is not Old Tombstone, Old Tucson, just west of real Tucson, where they made a lot of those movies, including El Dorado. We've walked through there, and we're in the jail and everything, where that was filmed, in that town. And it's a pretty neat place to visit if you're ever there, where they built that little town. It's not the old part of Tucson, it's actually a town Hollywood built back in the, was it 30s, John, or something like that, you know, to make movies. And a lot of those old movies, John Wayne movies, were made there. So he spent a lot of time in Tucson, especially old Tucson. So it's neat to see a gun. Let me shoot it again, okay? I'm not shooting, I'm sorry, I apologize. Put some bullets in it. probably forgetting to tell you a lot about it. I kind of went over the price. I don't know how they did the finish. I mean, I'm not an expert on this. I'm just impressed that it looks as realistic as it does. This would be a great movie gun right here, you know, for somebody to carry. Now the grip looks maybe a little too new, but then again, grips from handling can be pretty smooth. So let's shoot something. How about let's put one shot on that target paper, and nice. How about a 2-liter and a stop sign? Oh, click, click. So the short barrel Colts, as I've said many times, is a little harder to shoot than the longer barrel. That just about everybody's experience. Now, as far as fast draw artists and stuff, and shooting something really close, it doesn't make any difference, maybe, especially with bird shot. You know, like a lot of the, well, I guess the cowboy mounted action shooters use and things like that. But it's pretty neat. It's really very authentic. You know, I mean, they didn't put serial numbers in all the same places. You know, I mean, you know, you're getting into more and more expense. A Colt will have a serial number right there, you know, in those 3 places, just looking down from the bottom, of course. But, you know, they're really pretty authentic, I have to say. Kind of nice. Now, like my old Colts, you would have to, and I have several old guns of various companies and types, whether it's a Mauser or whatever it is, when the finish wears off like that, you want to keep them wiped down. But, you know, I've never had any trouble. Actually, I found a little bit of rust here and there, surface rust on this, and I don't know if it's intentional or for the looks of it. I don't know, you'll have to decide. One of you will get this from the e-gunner, you know, when it goes back, but you'll get that target. I'll sign it. That makes it worth $1 million, right? But as usual. But you just want to keep them wiped down. You know, a lot of people, in fact, people have asked me that. How do you keep those guns from rusting with no finish? Well, it's not a problem. I don't have a rag with me, but you just spray them down a little bit, wipe them down, put them in the sock, put them in the safe. I've never had rust and those sorts of issues. Made me cough. Okay. So, you know, there you go. It's not a big deal that the metal is showing. Even if you got a new gun with perfect bluing and everything, you need to wipe them down anyway. So really, I guess that's the reason I hear that. It's the sound of freedom, gunfire across the way. I love it when my neighbors are shooting too. But you're gonna, over there, it's great, isn't it? Do you hear that in your neighborhood? Well, now if you live in the city, you might, right? Yeah, if you have a beautiful bluing job and a good finish on your firearm, you also need to keep it wiped down. As we went over in our, gosh, what was that video called? Gun storage or something, firearm storage. You need to wipe it down before you put it away every time. It's not a big deal. Just keep a oil-soaked rag, dampened rag, you know, hanging on your safe door like I do. Wipe it down, put it away. It's not a problem. You may be almost more likely to have a problem with, in fact, it can be more serious with a blued gun. Because if well, I don't know about this one, but if this thing develops some surface rust, wow, oh, I wonder what I'd do. Well, how about just get out some really fine grit polishing sandpaper and then just sand it off. You wouldn't know, right? Because there's no finish there anyway. But so we got a nice bluing job, and I'm not sure how they did that, but it looks good. That's just my opinion. Now, you may have one and think it's really funky. The one thing, as John pointed out, the one thing you don't have duplicated is just the wear. And, you know, that would be a whole nother manufacturing process. You see the cylinder and around the edges of this thing, boy, it's been carried a lot. Look at that, the wear on the end of that housing and everything, the edges of the cylinder. And you got sharp edges on this, of course, because it's guess what? A new firearm. But that's okay. That's all right. Let me shoot one more time, can I? I'm trying to conserve ammo. We've got thunder. We've got gunfire in the distance. I tell you, it's just everything you want to hear, right? All right. I'm probably forgetting to tell you something about it. I told you about what it costs and why it exists. It's available, I think, and yeah, I say that as I speak. Hardly any guns are available, right? It's a crazy time, but today at least. But this month, it's available in 4440, I think, and 357, you know, 38. Maybe by the time you see this, it's in other chamberings. I don't know. But so I do the John Wayne load. It's his gun. I should do the John Wayne load, of course, 5 rounds. And that may be one of the most common controversies on our entire channel. And you know, why do you do that at the shooting table? You don't need to. No, it's a habit. It's a habit. It's like putting your seatbelt on, just doing different things. And as I have said before, if you need high capacity, get you a Glock 17. All right, just to be safe. All right, gallon of water. Oh, well, let's rinse it off. Oh, I'm gonna have to get closer to hit those, I think. In fact, how about right here? All right, I don't want to miss them. I'll have to reload. It's not that I'm that bad a shot. I think I've got one more. It's just that I'm that bad a shot. I haven't decided fully. It might shoot just a hair to the left. I'm not sure. And I didn't want to miss. Let's plug the cowboy again. Quick. Yeah. Oh man. And again, an actor like John Wayne would not have had trouble like ejecting cases. Again, you notice a lot of people have trouble emptying their firearms. They wrestle with them. He didn't wrestle with them as much. He was smoother because he actually was a shooter and all that. And I didn't know him personally. I'm talking about John Wayne. This is a duplicate of John Wayne's firearm. This will be a newsflash for some of you, but he was an actor, okay? So we really don't know much about John Wayne anymore. We know maybe about Brad Pitt or George Clooney or anybody else or Bob Dylan or anything. It's their art that we sometimes celebrate, that we enjoy. Most of us don't really know the person. Might not even like them if we met them, right? Yeah, but we know them as the artist, and whether it's Picasso or whoever it might be, maybe Rembrandt. Wait a minute, I knew him, but you know, basically, so this is kind of an honor, I guess, of Rooster Cogburn, the characters that ended the other characters that John Wayne played. What was his name? El Dorado is a really good movie. They play it like every day, I think, on the Westerns channel. So I have to be careful not to watch it. It has sweet music. Cole, I want to say, Cole somebody, but lots of different names. But he carried a firearm, looked a lot like this. His rig's a little bit different, and his cargo shorts, I don't know if you've seen those yet, but his cargo shorts were longer than mine. And his New Balance shoes, I don't know, they had a funnier look to them or something. They didn't look as comfortable. But he wore more of a rough out rig, and I think sometimes, and he wore a little bit lower sometimes in the movies than is comfortable really, but you know, Hollywood does that kind of thing. So, but anyway, this does look a lot like his firearm, and I thought you all might be interested in knowing about this, because I know a lot of you like to play John Wayne or Clint Eastwood. This would give you the ability to do that without paying $2,000 for a Colt. You could buy this and just get you a cowboy hat that makes you as handsome as I am. You could be John Wayne. Really, life is good.
Tired. It's a long walk from where I had to shoot that. Oh man. Oh hey, didn't see you guys there. Since you're here, I want to let you know about our friends over at Talon Grips and Ballistol. TalonGunGrips.com. Check out everything they have over there. You can get lots of different grips, the stick-on grip textures for your handguns and rifle grips, so go check them out. Also Ballistol, they're a firearms lubricant or anything else you might need lubricating. It's water soluble and non-toxic. Been using it on the compound and cleaning all of our guns. It's a cleaner and a lube for over 10 years. So Ballistol, Talon Grips, definitely check both of those companies out. And also, while you're on the internet, don't forget to go to Hickok45.com. You can also find us on Facebook, Hickok45, Twitter, Hickok45, Instagram, The Real Hickok45, and also I have an Instagram page where I post behind the scenes stuff and different things like that. John, JOHN_HICKOK45 on Instagram. And the next thing you have to do is watch more videos.